morning, sir. Hello, sir.
Hi, good morning. Can you hear me well?
Yes, sir. Well, you're
Yes,
audible.
sir.
Great.
So, sir, firstly, thank you so much for taking out time from your busy schedule. And
No, no, it's okay. I mean, I'm extremely sorry that I was not able to respond to you in last few interactions because little, life take turns suddenly, at times.
sir, I totally understand how busy you must be. So, I won't take much of your time. So let's just start right away. So,
Okay.
I'm Ishani and she's Priyanka.
Good to see Shani and Priyanka.
Same as sir. So, sir, as we all know, modeling is, considered to be India's top translation and research centers. So we want to know how has the journey been? Like from the very moment when you came up with this idea to actually achieving so much.
See, in fact, it has been a very wonderful journey, to grow Motlingua from a hostel room in Periyar Hostel, in JNU campus. When I was still a student doing my master's final year, I started Motlingua as a proprietorship company. And at that phase of time, we had no telephone. Uh, Mobile was just introduced, and we had pager. So I started Motlingua through a paging services, and then slowly communication system improved, and that helped us a lot because at that phase of time, everything was done through meetings, talks, personal meetings, advertisement in newspapers, and there was no mode of communication which was less costly. But time came when things started moving on. The internet came, the mantra online kind of packages was being sold for 20 hours, 25 hours package. Something of that sort was introduced online for internet, and then mobile phone Airtel also came into picture. But still those things were very costly, 64 rupees for a single call for a 1 minute time, but internet has certainly helped us a lot because then we were able to move our activities without in fact moving out from the office. And slowly you have to evolve through variety of challenges that you face on a daily basis, and learn from those mistakes. So we are still learning, and trying to evolve and do better and contribute little bit, at least for the betterment of the profession, especially the social and identity part, which has always been lacking in translation business. So I believe we were trying to evolve as a business as well as as a profession. So far the journey has been very good. I have enjoyed it. I have not never thought of doing something else than doing language business.
So you can't even imagine how difficult it must have been. Like,
Right, Ashani. It was quite a good challenging time also at times, when you have uh, high pressure of work, lots of works to do in a little time, and when your human resources are not well equipped and capable enough. So you have to face those challenges, especially from professional point of view, and still deliver to your clients, as per the promise. Many times you have to pay from your own pocket to maintain your commitment. So we have done that also at times, and learned from that situation.
that's great, sir. So, sir, could you tell us more about your educational background because it's been so diverse from studying law to, going to JNU, then studying at IIFT. So, like, tell us more about it.
Right. In fact, yeah, I tell you, I like doing experiments, especially with those areas which I have never explored. So I did my schooling from a very good school. I'm happy that I've studied there, called Sainik School Tilaya. And I after 10th we had no option but to take science and with bio as well as maths. So I had either of the option to choose, from bio to maths, or after school I took admission in political science in Delhi University. Did 1 year there, was a topper of the college, but I wanted to do something different, so I shifted to JNU in Spanish studies. And there I learned, that there appears to be a big opportunity, because at that phase of time languages was like a fashion, number one. And professionally there were not many options, career options. Either you work in an embassy, or work as a tourist guide, or become a translator, or become a teacher. These 4 5 options were available. But I was thinking, that why not I link it with variety of other professions, including law, including IT, commerce, business, diplomacy, international relations. Everywhere you have languages. The only thing is that you have to identify how to plug them there. And that I was able to see that vision, perhaps at that phase of time. Because while studying I started working also, had opportunity to become a guide, become a tour manager, travel around with tourists, at different places. Parallelly I was also trying to learn from my friends who were doing management, who were studying IT, who were studying medical, who were doing law. So all these things helped me uh, focus little more on, you know trying to identify more dimensions of the languages. And the more I explored, the more confident I became, and the commitment became more stronger towards languages. So by the time I was finishing my masters, I was working for Peruvian embassy as admin officer as well as translator, doing their variety of business development activities, including learning to deal with selling aircrafts. And I was the one who was instrumental in buying one civilian use aircraft for Air Force of Peru. So they bought one aircraft from India, from Dhamani Airlines, which was grounded at that phase of time for quite 2 years time. So after the intervention of the Peruvian government as well as the president directly, this deal was done. And it took a 1 year to fly that plane. So lots of paperwork, follow-ups. It was a learning experience. Similarly, I also learned to deal with variety of delegations, visits, high profile visits, and learn how the diplomacy works. I was also, because of that, I was able to clear one of the toughest examination of Spain for taking admission in School of Diplomacy, Madrid. So in 1999, I cleared that exam, and as I recall, so far that exam has not been cleared by any Indian, because that is done in Spanish, and that too in international relations. So if you study languages, you don't learn, international relations. And by the time you start learning international relations, you forget your language. So it becomes little tough, to get into that situation. But that helped me, gave me confidence. Later on, I also got a scholarship for my PhD in Mexico by the government of India as well as Mexican government. Although I was not able to avail either of the two, because my commitment remained with the language, with mod lingua. And so that's how it is.
That's great.
And later on, I started teaching at Indian Institute of Foreign Trade. I taught there for 13 years, learned a lot from my students. There, I experiment with some, business related, management related concepts, including international marketings, communications, also research. Published some books on Latin America, like doing business in Peru, doing business in Brazil, doing business in Venezuela. There is one book which I recall got published at that phase of time, Peru, your business destination. Let me see if I have. I will try and show you this. Yes, I have one copy. This was the book, Peru, your business destination.
Oh, that's great.
This was published in 2011, 2001. And that phase of time, I published 3 books. And, while you do things, you learn. So,
Sir,
and
how,
continue teaching business to students at IIFT, MBA students, and compel them rather to work on Latin American market, because I was teaching them Spanish and I was also teaching them how to do business in Latin America. So the idea was to do experiment with languages as well as business, international relations, research. That created good impact on the students, and lots of them have got placed in Latin America. Later on, they have done lots of flow of business between India and Latin American countries, and they are still doing it. And it feels good, when you bring such changes. You are talking about education, then I also did my export management course, short term courses. Later on, I did lots of research on IT. I did a course in Copenhagen Business School there to learn how to use, artificial intelligence to speed up your translation activities. Learn to use eye tracker. There is a software that tracks your eye movements and gauges. So if you are distracted for a minute, for a fraction of second from your regular, gaze, the software knows that you are looking for that particular word. So that particular word of meaning, it starts coming on the screen. Similarly, I also learned to do my, DTP learning, like using Adobe, using HTML. I learned web development. I'm a web developer also. So I keep on doing it. And then later on, I was advisor to Punjab Technical University. There I introduced BSc program in translation studies. I introduced Center for Language Innovation there. My courses were introduced in 200 colleges in one go. That created job opportunity for approximately 1,000 plus language professors, in whole Punjab region. So these are something. Then I decided to go to Canada for more specialization in translation studies. I learned there also at University of Ottawa. I came back and then I did my law to link translation with legal area, and legal interpretation. I also trained some people of G News to launch live interpreting on news, channels. So it is called mass media interpreting. So if you are doing a channel in English and if you introduce interpreting there, your channel can go live on different languages. It's called live channel for news, in first in English and parallelly in Hindi for or Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, or foreign languages. So if you invest in creating news, for example, in English, and you want to go global or local, you can make use of the languages, and at very low cost, you can go global. You will not have to pay to the anchors, who are charged very heavy for other languages. Although certainly you will be paying for one language at least, but you will be paying only for interpreting. And that interpreter can be a good interpreter if you train them and tone them up. And that particular interpreter, after having period of let's say 1 or 2 years time, become so much experience that can also get converted into anchors, so the more deeper you go, I also try to connect, let's say, concepts like physics, science, so now the concept is, what happens when physics fails? They go for metaphysics. If you go and talk to scientists, who are really visionary ones, so if you go to scientists, and those who are the futurist ones, they will tell you that science is not giving solution to the problems. So they look beyond science, and what is beyond science? It is God, it is metaphysics that comes into picture. They start talking about permutations, combinations, uh, something which is irrational, something which is haphazard, they talk of opportunities, chances, in the science thing. And similarly, when your grammar and vocabulary starts failing in languages, you look for spiritualism. You start teaching, learning culture, you start teaching, learning, about your own self. When you start doing introspection, you end up being spiritual. So the science and languages meet at one point, and that is the spiritual aspect of life. So these things are, part of life, and I'm still learning now. From I told you, from bio to science, from science to political science to languages to international relations to business, from business to again artificial intelligence, and then web development, etc. And then from web development to specialization again in translation, interpreting, and then from interpreting to law, and from law to spiritualism. That's life. We are into a full cycle.
I must tell you
So
that's
what
that not many people are able to do so many things in just just one life. I don't think.
Right. So, Aishani, the idea is, life is not about being a doctor, or being, engineer, or being administrative officer. Life is about trying to explore, every aspect of it, you know, from food to your well-being, spiritual well-being, mental well-being, social well-being, collective well-being, of the society. They're all they all matter, in life.
Exactly. So you've done so many things, and you've been to so many places. I'm sure you've dealt with people of different nationalities. So how has the experience been?
Very good. I mean, in fact, instead of studying books, it's better to travel. And I was lucky that I got chance to stay and study in Spain, stay in Copenhagen, Denmark, stay in US, stay in Canada, and traveled approximately 20 plus countries, including China, Malaysia, Thailand, uh, Dubai. The most recent was Dubai and Berlin. They are all places have their own characteristics, and the one thing that is common everywhere is the human aspect. Uh, you find people of different varieties, different languages, but one thing is common, that most of the people want to survive and help you. There are some who are very greedy, tricky people, but they should not deter your determination and be positive in life. That is what I have learned from my traveling.
That's nice. Sir. And so, like, you must be having a diverse team, comprising of professionals, engineers, and everyone. So, how do you manage like all of them?
Right, that is very interesting part, because languages, uh, I was talking about various dimensions. So those dimensions I was able to explore through CVs on a daily basis. We receive at least 10, 20 CVs, for jobs, for projects, freelance, etc., etc. And if you scan through those CVs, you will find everybody has one or two different, dimensions. Can you imagine a doctor being a translator? In India, people who are doctors, they don't do translations, but there are some who are fond of languages, and they ask, if you have something for me, please help me out. I want to do it. Recently, we had one intern who is a physics professor, but he wants to become a French translator. He is based in Pondicherry. Similarly, we had one pilot, who has sent his CV and wants to be a translator. Similarly, lawyers are there, there are very much lawyers. But in this pandemic time, there are lots of lawyers who have approached me for work, as a translator, because they don't have work. Similarly, there are housewives, there are students, 10 plus 2, 10, 11th, 12th, very minimal standards, because they believe that they are good translators because they speak two languages. So many times we have to kind of mold them, tell them that, this is not enough to be a good translator. You have to learn more, focus more. Certainly, you can be a facilitator, but you can't declare yourself a good translator. It needs some sort of, I will say, training under supervision, and then you start flying. It's just like being trained as a pilot, or even if you look at birds in the sky, the small birds, they don't start flying suddenly. They learn flying under the supervision of their parents. Similarly, even a translator has to learn under certain supervision, because if you don't learn under supervision, you keep on doing similar mistakes, and nobody teaches you those mistakes. Client doesn't bother to give you feedback, neither you bother. And suddenly, when your work is rejected by somebody after 10 years or 5 years of your work or being in the field, you feel shocked and start fighting that, in last 5 years, nobody has told me that I am a wrong, bad translator. But if somebody points you, you learn that, certainly, there are lots of mistakes that you have been doing. So it is good to identify those mistakes and evolve. We have recently, evolved a formula. I will say it is called Mod Lingua rubric. So if you follow that rubric properly, you will be able to minimize your mistakes, number one. Save your time, number two. Speed up the work of your team, number three. And maintain good quality of writing as well as translation. So if you want to explore, Google the word called Mod Lingua rubric. You will be able to improve yourself without any intervention drastically, at least double your efficiency. So that is my contribution, recent contribution to linguistic world.
We'll definitely go through it, sir. And so, like, what all setbacks did you face while implementing the idea, while initiating the idea, and still, like, what are the challenges that you face on a day-to-day basis?
See, there are some challenges where they are very critical ones, and the first one is maintaining quality in the work. Second one is certainly price factor, because client doesn't want to pay you. And third one is lack of professionalism among linguists. These three are very, very, discouraging points that can put you in trouble anytime. So the first one was, something like human resource are not trained enough, number one. And even if you train them, after they get training, they are hired by multinationals, and you can't compete with multinationals because they are sitting in a high economic zone where they earn good enough, and still pay 10-20% higher to people here in India, and take your human resources away from you, because if you start competing with them, you will be out of the market. Second one comes when translators or linguists, they do not understand the meaning of commitment. If you commit, you must do it. If you commit for certain price, you commit for certain quality, certain timeline, follow it. At times people start taking you lightly. There are translators who say, I was not able to do my translation work because I had to go and receive my girlfriend on the airport. I was not able to do your translation because I had to go to railway station for buying my ticket. These are excuses. They when translators fail their commitment, and they do with these excuses. So do you feel this is how the industry will grow? you know this is something that should come into picture. They should understand certain values, certain ethics. If you don't have that, that means either you are wrong or the whole industry will perish, or you are going to continue that way. If you, then perhaps you are not going to help economy in the growth, because you collective image of such 10 people can create a big disaster. So people will create a bad image and brand people who are unprofessional people. And when you are branded, nobody will give you high salary, nobody will give you high price for whatever quality you produce. So can you imagine a person who has done PhD, as well as a person who has just done BA fresher, asking the same price? It doesn't happen that way, in the professional world.
Exactly.
So you have to ask for a price which you deserve, not the price which some other one is deserving.
Exactly, sir.
So that differentiation is many times not made by the clients, and they expect you to do miracle at a peanut. So there is a saying, if you pay peanut, you can't hire an expert. You can hire certainly monkeys,
That's true.
right? So these are some points that comes into picture. But slowly, when open market has come up and more competition is there, there are some good number of translation companies, some associations like Indian Translators Association has come up. Lots of other people who were from language background, they have taken exposure in multinationals. They have learned project management, they have learned contract, they have learned sales pitch, and they have learned entrepreneurship. So these things are slowly helping development of the growth of the language and translation business. And more startups are coming up nowadays, and it is being started by quite a smart people. That is the positive sign that I see.
So I think Priyanka will take it further from here. Priyanka?
Yeah, sure, Priyanka, please tell me, how do I help you?
So, so earlier we were very curious to know that are you a leader or a follower, but now since like after you have shared your experience, we have just got to know that you are a leader. So what qualities do you feel there must be in a leader? What values should be there?
In a leader, oh, I mean, I don't say that I'm a leader, because the first thing that I believe, if you really want to bring changes in yourself as well as in the society, first of all, you need to become a good follower. You need to be a good learner. And the moment you start thinking that now you don't need to learn, it means that your fall has started. So if you really want to be in the front, you have to learn and share, learn and share, learn and share. And similarly, continuous development, continuous improvement. You have to follow that process of PDCI, which we learn in management, or even quality management. So you have to do mistakes, write down, do introspection, learn why these mistakes were done or happened, who are responsible, fix the accountability, improve, again move ahead and improve. And in all, it's very important that you must have a good team of people. And teamwork comes only when you are ready to sacrifice many times your ego, many times your personal, grudges, many times your salary at times, or money aspect also you have to sacrifice little bit. All these things can help you, do a better project management and play a leadership role. If you impact somebody's life, you are a leader. But
Yes.
if you can't change somebody's life for a positive, and still you boost off your activities, I mean, I can be a millionaire, or I can be anyone, who cares? If I have not been able to bring changes in your life, either materialistically or mentally or spiritually or physically, it doesn't matter who I am. There are many people of that kind, who earn and die. So I don't want to be one of them. I want to be a one who can bring some changes, either in self as well as in the surrounding where I live in, or the people whom I interact with.
Definitely, sir. That we can see. So, sir, just a second. I would like to. I just want to ask Shani something. Is there any technical glitch? Like you just got a message about because, sir, this is going on recording mode. So, did you get any message? Is it getting
No,
recorded,
Yeah,
Ishani?
I am not recording. I hope
No,
you are recording it.
no. I wanted to ask Ishani actually. Is it get? Is it on recording mode, right?
yeah.
Because I just okay. I just got a message actually, so I just wanted to ask
What message?
that you have exceeded your Zoom limit, like Zoom recording
There
limit or
must be
something
some
like that.
line, uh, Zoom, when you cross certain minutes, they send you message, perhaps.
Okay.
Oh,
So it is getting recorded, right?
I
I
can
just wanted to.
on it, but I didn't get a message. Should I check? Matlab,
Okay, then we can continue. We can continue.
If you want, I can put on my recording for your help. I'm putting it.
yes.
Thank you
You
so
have
much.
to give me permission if you want me to do so.
Yeah, she can do.
So in case अगर आपका नहीं होगा तो मेरा मेरा तो रहेगा कम से कम.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Please ask host to give you permission. आपको परमिशन मुझे देना पड़ेगा. देखिए, आप मुझे परमिशन दीजिए तो फिर मैं करूं. राइट, ठीक है.
तो दे दिया.
Host. Okay, now it is recording
Thank you, sir.
Oh,
at my end. Yeah.
thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
So, sir, please could you share like translation and interpretation as like two career options? So, could you just elaborate about these two
See,
fields?
yeah. I mean, both of them are practically different things, but even mentally different things. But they have some similar roots. Interpreting and translation has two different dimensions. In translation, you type, whatever language, you transfer message from one language to another by typing it. In interpreting, you don't type, rather you use your voice. Translation also has variety of dimensions, like word to word translation, sense to sense translation, cultural translation, social translation, persona of the translator, system theories there. There are variety of theories that shape translation processes. So those people who are little serious about it, they learn, they do some experiments, and they evolve their own style of translation. And there are many times when you use variety of mix of all these strategies. In interpreting also, there are some broadly two interpreting. One is consecutive interpretation, when somebody speaks and then waits, and then the interpreter interprets and the third person listens. So when there is a gap between two languages, and you are facilitating in a business meeting this thing, sitting together, and then, or even when we are talking, one can wait and another speaks. This is what is called consecutive, one by one. And there is another interpretation which is very challenging one, and that is simultaneous one. So for example, I have started talking to you, the interpreter listens sitting in a booth, and then he or she starts interpreting in different languages, and there is hardly a gap of 1 or 2 seconds. And that kind of work is very, very experienced people can handle. And generally, you can do all these activity after you are a good translator, after you are a good consecutive interpreter, and you are a good reader, good listener, good adapter. You adapt to new situations quickly. So all these things are required, and that stage of interpreting comes at least after 10-15 years of your experience, continuous experience in that field. So if you are a fresher and you try to do simultaneous interpreting, it is bound to be a disaster thing.
Definitely.
So if, I mean, you are a doctor and suddenly you start operating heart, it doesn't happen. For that, you have to undergo certain procedure, training, knowledge, experience, because you are putting somebody's life at risk, and that happens when you have gone through variety of, if challenges, mistakes, learning. And once you enter in the booth, again there are variety of challenges, because you many times you are not briefed who is going to speak. Suddenly program changes, the speaker has got absent, the other one has came in. The speech with he was supposed to deliver political, he starts giving medical speech, and then you are not prepared mentally. So if you are thinking that you will be doing interpretation for, let's say, for a doctor who is especially in heart, and he suddenly becomes a politician and he start talking politics. So you have to be a medical practitioner, as well as a doctor, as well as a person of knowledge of political science, to cope those languages. So one interpreter lives a life of variety of people. He can be a doctor, engineer, politician, or a social worker, or at times a sufferer, at times a patient, at times a client, at times a criminal, because you have to talk in the criminal language also when you are doing court interpreting. You have to be a kind of sufferer, like somebody being uh, criticized, somebody is being given loss of thrashing by husband, some wife, she's suffering, she's crying, and you have to interpret those pains to people. So you have to be very sensitive.
Yeah.
So but it is a very rewarding learning experience. It makes you a good human being in a way, because you learn while doing, and it makes you knowledgeable too. So for luckily, I have done interpreting for good companies who have developed world class manufacturing units. I have done interpreting for Prime Minister Modi ji. I have done interpreting for other, state heads, including French president as well as IMF bank head, Peruvian president, as well as for Manmohan Singh ji, as well as from Pranav Da, the president of India. Then he was finance minister. I mean, enormous number of points, and every interpreting assignment is a challenge and a learning experience. And I handle team also, so you have to be judicious enough to locate those people who are good enough in handling those points. Otherwise, you will end up sending somebody who is not good enough, and the project can go in wrong direction. So it is a challenging task, and that drives a person. इसको जिसको हम बोलते हैं, सिनेमा में आप देखते हैं ना, तो बोलते हैं लोग उसको हाइक नहीं मिलता है. तो हमको मुझे हाइक तभी मिलता है जब कोई चैलेंज आता है जिंदगी में. नो चैलेंज, नो लाइफ.
That seems to a quite diverse field, and you need to have like intensive training. So that
Right.
is there.
You have to train yourself continuously. You can't stop. If you stop, you're gone. And you will be out of the market too. People don't wait for you,
Yes, because there's huge competition out there.
Right.
So, sir, how many languages do you know? Did you always had a flair for languages?
I will not say till 12th I had learned only 2 language. My Hindi was quite good in the beginning. But after I entered into Sainik school, which was English medium school, everything was done in English. Still, I maintained good relations with Hindi till 10th. But after 10th, I lost it. And then after my master's and my MPhil, I realized that Hindi is a very important language. So I started taking up again. And Hindi English was very, very helpful. Certainly, I learned Spanish and Portuguese when I was in GNU campus. Later, I also did diploma in French. So formally, I have taken language training in Hindi, English, Spanish, Portuguese, and French. But because of experience in handling variety of languages, I am now able to also take up translations well for Spanish to English, Portuguese to English, French to English, and Italian to English. 4 languages, foreign languages, and Hindi English is certainly. So Hindi, English, and Spanish are 3 languages which I will say for my interpreting. And for translation, Hindi, English, Spanish, Portuguese, French, and Italian. So that keeps me busy.
That's wonderful, sir.
And when you talk
So-
of languages, then HTML, JavaScript, PHP script in computer science, and legal interpreting is another area. Legal language is also a language.
The multi-talented personality.
So these things are quite. It comes through experience. If you are doing it, and when you learn, then you are confident that whatever you have in you is okay enough for the professional use.
So,
So
there's this question like, how do you think like Pravisha would be able to provide a platform for the startups?
right. See, this is a very good initiative by your friend, our friend Pratyush. Uh, I have had the opportunity, when I was in IIFT, to help lots of a startup come up with ideas, look there, pros and cons, uh, brainstorm with them to give them challenges, find out, possibilities of making it more better and make it foolproof. Similarly, I have also been part of certain initiatives at IIT Delhi where they organize on a yearly basis startup boot camp. In fact, I was one of the keynote speaker also in one of their events, and uh, they teach to how to pitch for your funding and make your prototypes do better, and at times even the possibility of getting patents, and why one should invest in you, all these questions. So if you are able to facilitate language entrepreneurship, language as well as AI tools, artificial intelligence, and give them a platform, I believe India being a multilingual country and growing, there is a big huge opportunity waiting for language professionals in Indian languages as well as in foreign languages. Indian languages, I'm saying, because India is now a good, have good strength of purchasing power. So if you have more purchasing power, people will come and talk to you in your language. The rather you talking to them in their language, they will come and talk to you. If I become a billionaire and I talk my village language, which is Bajika, and I become adamant, that I will talk only in Bajika. So any multinational who wants to do relations with me will hire a interpreter, of Bajika first, and then try to learn that, to talk to me directly. So that is what is happening in India. The India signing, especially after this pandemic, I'm sure India will grow more stronger, and the local community is growing. Their purchasing power have increased. So the bottom of pyramid, that we talk of, has become more stronger. So you could now see even changes taking place already. The customer care executive is, when you give a call, will talk to you in at times in Bengali, at times in Bhojpuri, at times in Maghi, or at times in Telugu, Tamil. I mean, Punjabi. So that is the trend. And similarly, there are some smart people who have taken initiative in the right time. So instead of focusing in the local market, they are now exploring global market. So they are exploring Europe, they are exploring America, they're exploring China, they're exploring, all those Scandinavian countries where foreign languages are spoken, Latin America, African countries. And there is a big market for variety of things, including technical, non-technical, legal, business, not only translation, but there are ancillary activities including publicity, DTP, website development, app development, IT development. So you have to give them local and as well as international support. And if you learn to play with these areas and have some management skills added, you can become a good entrepreneur, international entrepreneur, and do well. So
Definitely.
these trigger points, if you are able to kind of join the
Figure out.
dots and coordinate, it can create a good ecosystem of entrepreneurship.
Definitely. We'll try to inculcate that. Because we see there is like a huge scope, as you said, like there's a huge scope, just being a great profession. Yes.
Right. It's
Needs
a
to
good
be reached
market.
out to like large public.
Right. It has a good
That,
market.
so anything you would like to, share to people out there who wants to start something on their own, but they are a bit hesitant, to start it in the beginning. So any piece of advice to them?
No, see, yeah, my piece of advice is in India, especially, I have noticed family is the biggest obstacle that doesn't let you go. They keep on doing variety of if and buts and checks, and they want you to act traditionally. पढ़ाई कीजिए, नौकरी कीजिए और चैन में रहिए, right? And I believe this is a crime. Why it is crime? Because if somebody is capable enough to become a leader, why you want him or her to remain a second grade citizen and remain a job seeker instead of a good job giver? It is a crime to him, to yourself, to the family, and to the nation. If you are preventing a leader to become a leader, can you imagine how much problem you are going to create for the whole system and for the health of that person? If a person is born to be a leader, rather you shape him or her, empower him, let him go, do experiments. So parents, especially relatives later on, so think of that you have lived your life, and it is always good to allow your children to live their way of life, the way he or she wants, not the way you want. Certainly you as a parent, you will be emotionally attached. You want safety of your child. That safety you can always be there to help him or her when he or she falls down, but allow him to fall. जब तक आप अखाड़े में उतर के कुश्ती नहीं लड़िएगा, तब तक कैसे पता चलेगा? जोर नहीं आजमाइएगा दुनिया से. How will you know your strength? Many times you set out to do something thinking that you are a simple human being. कैसे होगा, कहां से होगा, कौन करेगा, पैसा कहां से आएगा, इन्वेस्टमेंट क्या होगा, डूब जाएंगे, बिजनेस नहीं आएगा, मैक्सिमम नहीं आएगा तो नहीं आएगा. You will come to the same point जहां पे थे. So it's better to move, no? And जब आप move करने लगिएगा, तो believe me, world is run by only 1% of the population. 99% of them are followers. तो अब आप थोड़ा सा भी अगर 2-4 स्टेप अच्छा लेते हैं, तो मुझे लगता है कि वो पहला कदम आपको बहुत आगे ले जा सकता है. तो कदम जरूर उठाइए. And my best wishes to all those people who are ready to take their first leap. वो बहुत जरूरी होता है, पहला स्टेप. एंड वो स्टेप है ब्रेक फ्री. डरने का नहीं, डर के आगे जीत है. राइट?
So this has quite been a motivating session, I would say. So thank
बहुत
you
अच्छा
so
है
much for
प्रियंका.
being so
इफ दिस हेल्प्स
inspiring.
यू प्लीज गो अहेड. एंड आप सभी को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, और बेस्ट विशेस टू यू एंड योर टीम as well as to Pratyush. Say my hi to him. I'm in touch with him on WhatsApp and all, but बहुत दिनों से बातचीत नहीं हुई है मेरी. I just hope he is doing well with his hospital of the children, and now this is a very good initiative that he has taken up, and I appreciate his initiative.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
ठीक है.
best
और
of
कोई सवाल हो, कुछ जवाब हो, कभी कुछ दिक्कत, कभी कुछ आपकी इच्छा हो कभी बातचीत करने की, गिव मी अ कॉल एनी टाइम. कभी कभी मैं रिस्पॉन्ड लेट से करता हूं, बट रिस्पॉन्ड जरूर करूंगा.
So now we know you are a busy person. Like you are involved in many activities. So now we can understand.
ठीक है.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. We wish you
चलिए,
good
take
luck
care.
for future.
Yes,
Sir.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Priyanka.
you. Thank you.